Folks, Street Fighter 6 is so close to coming out. It's just like 3 days away. I know we're all excited. I know as soon as the game unlocks, you're going to want to hop into online, jump into the story mode maybe, and have some fun. But I'm here to tell you, there are some things that you should really do in the game before you play your first matches. So today, I'm going to be going through a list of 5 things that I very highly recommend taking care of before you start playing the game and getting into matches. If you find this list helpful or informative or entertaining, it would really help me out. If you could hit the like button, you can take a second, just do it right now. It seriously makes a huge difference and gets the video shown to more people. But with that, let's jump into the list here, starting at number 5. So the very first thing you're going to want to do in game, it sounds a little obvious, but it's set your controls. I know this sounds like a no-brainer. Obviously, you want your buttons to be right, but in Street Fighter 6, there's a couple extra things that are really important that you take a look at. One is going to be the control type. So classic versus modern, if you don't want to do the actual special move motions like the fireball motion and stuff, you can set it to modern. Modern seems very viable, so I wouldn't worry about being, overly weak by picking modern instead of classic, but just pick whichever one you're comfortable with. And for online, actually, this setting is tied to your battle profile, so you can see per character, you'll have your own setting here where it says control type. So you can set this on a per character basis. So don't be confused if you switch characters and all of a sudden your character is on modern controls. That's why. But what you can do is you can see down here, you can hit a button to apply the same control type to all characters. So that way you'll set it for the whole cast and you don't have to individually set it for everyone. So make sure you take care of that. And the final control thing you want to take a look at is this setting here, button release input. So in other Street Fighter games, this is referred to as negative edge. So if you have this setting on, you can actually do special moves by releasing the button in addition to pressing the button. So you can see I press down light punch. I'm holding the button right now. I do a fireball and I let go of light punch and that does the fireball. So most Street Fighter games have this on. So if you're used to it, if it's something you take advantage of, you're going to want this setting on. But if it's something that's just going to annoy you and frustrate you and give you accidental special moves when you don't want them, you're going to want to turn this setting off. Again, this is called button release input in Street Fighter 6. Is right up there. So take care of that setting before you jump into a match. Okay, so you got your buttons set. You're set to the control type you want to use. But before you start playing the game, you're going to have to figure out who you're actually going to want to play. So I would say the second thing to take care of is pick a main. I think obviously it's not a problem to jump around the cast and test everybody out before you decide who you want to play. But if you care about ranking up and getting to the high ranks and learning the game and improving, I think sticking to one character after you've made your decision will help a lot. You'll be a lot more consistent if you put a ton of time in with one character than putting a little bit of time in with every character. So a nice thing in Street Fighter 6 is for every character, they have this how to play section. I think that's a good place to go to kind of figure out what your character wants to do. They'll tell you, is your character aggressive? Are they defensive? Are they a grappler? Are they a projectile character? All that stuff, so you can learn that here in the in-game guides, and I think that's going to help you pick out a main a little bit more easily. I also think it's good to just go into training mode with characters and, press buttons, see how their buttons feel, and their special moves and stuff, see how they feel in your actual hands when you're playing the game. Because sometimes, I thought that I wouldn't like Luke at all just looking at him, but then when I actually tried Luke, I was like, wait a minute, this character is really fun. So you never know until you try someone out whether they're going to connect with you. So put your thought in, try everyone out, and pick a main, because you're really going to want to find a character that resonates with you personally. And that'll just make the game more fun if you're playing a character that you actually like. But once you've settled on a character, the next thing you're going to want to do, number 3 on the list, is going to be finding a bread and butter combo. So we call these B&Bs in fighting game terminology. And this is basically your go-to combo that you can do in basically any situation. So like off a jump in, you can do your B&B. It'll also work as like a punish if the opponent does like an unsafe move or something. You can use your bread and butter combo, and this is just really important so that you're not going to panic. When you get a big opportunity for damage, you want to actually do a combo and not just punish with like crouching heavy kick or a throw or something. You want to get the combos where you can. So there are going to be combo trials in the game. You might be able to find a bread and butter in there. You can look them up on YouTube or Twitter. You can test out in training and find them yourself, but I'll just give you a couple examples here. A lot of combos in the game are going to follow this format of a linked normal into a special move. So with Luke, you can link from crouching medium punch to crouching light punch, and then you can cancel that into his quarter circle back light punch, and this is just a solid B&B to start out with for Luke. For a solid B&B is standing medium punch, crouching medium punch into hurricane kick. So again, that's a link from medium punch to medium punch, and then you're going to cancel that into Tatsumaki. So yeah, again, your B&B is going to be different per character, so take a second, just find it and get consistent with it so you can pull it out in matches. And then once you get more advanced, you know, you can add on additional combos. Like let's say, for example, you want a combo that uses some meter for extra damage. That's important. Or you might want to find a combo into super so that you can use your super meter in exchange for more damage. But to start out, just worry about a nice meterless bread and butter combo for your main character. All right, next up, the fourth tip is going to be finding an anti-air for your character. That's the other important thing. Online, everybody jumps all the time. This is a bad habit, especially at the lower ranks. People jump all the time, and you know, they're fishing. They're trying to get a jump in and land their combos on you. So you're going to want to be able to stop this. So anti-airing is super important. Most characters are going to have a few different options. Another nice thing in Street Fighter 6 is that a lot of times they're going to show you what a good anti-air is. So you can see right in here, it says Shoryuken is invincible to an opponent's jumping attacks, making it a great anti-air tool. So using your character's dedicated anti-air moves, most characters are going to have a special move that is invincible to airborne attacks. So getting used to that is going to make a huge difference and help you get a ton of damage when the opponent is jumping at you recklessly, which again, that is something that all the low rank players do. They're just holding up forward. The floor is lava. They're jumping all day, so make sure you're ready to punish with a clutch anti-air. And guys, the very last thing I wanted to mention today is make sure that you plug in your Ethernet cable. I hope I don't get controversial here, but if you, at all possible, I very, very highly recommend playing Street Fighter 6 on a wired connection instead of over Wi-Fi. So there's a couple of reasons for this. One is that even though Wi-Fi is really fast these days, Wi-Fi is high bandwidth, low latency, it still has issues with stuff like packet loss, just due to general instability that's always going to be happening and is unavoidable. So there is packet loss, which can cause rollbacks and other online issues. So generally, wired is going to play better, but not only that, there is confirmed to be a Wi-Fi indicator. When you're playing online, you can see if your opponent is on wired or wireless. Shoutouts to Rooflemonger, who was the first person to reveal this. And yeah, people are generally going to be more inclined to play with you online if they see you're running wired, because they know that it's going to be a better online experience. So Ethernet cables are cheap, man. You can get them for $4. You can get a 10-foot Ethernet cable, or you can even get a 100-foot, run it across your house. That's $27. So it's not super expensive. And if you're really in a situation where it's just impossible, my router is 72 rooms over, it's on a different floor, whatever, there are power line adapters as well, which can help you convert your connection into a wired connection that, you know, will find you anywhere in the house. So there are options out there. I understand that it's not possible for 100% of players, but if you do have the option, I very highly recommend setting up a wired connection. But with that, guys, that's going to be the whole list. I hope you found it entertaining. Hope you found it informative. I know I personally cannot wait for Street Fighter 6. I'm freaking out. I can't wait to play it. And just know, rest easy, there is going to be a ton of Street Fighter 6 content on my channel, including live streams. If you want to catch some of my live streams over the weekend, I'm going to be streaming like 14, 15, 16 hours a day probably once the game comes out. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. But with that, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.